about Marvel, what they're doing with like?
Oh my god, no. Snowflake and Safespace. I fucking saw that. I fucking saw that.
God. What
Oh.
a shit show. Literally everyone hates that.
Yeah. Oh my god, I saw that and I was like, conservative YouTubers are gonna have like just the most, just like all of the fucking things to say about this. And like I already see, like I could already see the memes, right? Conservatives would be like, or like the memes would basically be like, conservatives, we don't want this, and then leftists, we don't want this either.
I mean, I like Snowflake's ability. It's just like deadly snow, which is honestly cool because I don't know if you've ever seen my ESO character, but I kind of like the ice aesthetic.
Well, yeah, I mean, I get it. It's just like, the thing I don't like about the design is that, like, I understand, like, the policy reasons that they give. It's like, oh, we're trying to reclaim these words. But the problem is those are words that never belonged to the community to begin with. If we were trying to reclaim the words, like, it would be a different thing if those words had some original meaning within, like, the queer community or, like, you know, whatever community they're saying that it belongs to. Vaguely the trans community, vaguely the LGBT community, so on and so forth, right? Like, it would be different if that was the case, but it wasn't. It was literally, like, a term invented by conservatives to try and, like, shit on people who are leftist or LGBT or what have you. Like, it's a very vague and undefined term at this point in time. So there's no reclaiming actually happening at this point. Like, it's just like taking, it's just rubbing salt in the wound at this point. Because I thought we were getting to the point where people were, like, stopping, like, we're beginning to stop using the term. And, like, this just put so much fuel into that fire. And I'm just like, what have you done, Marvel? Like, and also it bothers me because, like, it was clearly written by someone who was not actually, like, queer or affected by this. And so this just seems like a way for them to make more money and to try and appeal to, like, a younger, hipper, more, like, queer audience, right? It's like, fuck that, you know?
Very cool, very queer, as whatever the fuck the
exactly
points quote is.
Yeah, exactly. It's just trying to get into a new market. So not only did they handle it wrong, but they just butchered it. Like, there's so many things that are wrong with it. So that's your answer. Yes, I have heard of it. And yes, I have feelings about it. Now, mind you, like, you know the thing that's most ironic to me about that? The thing that's most ironic to me about that is because, like, before all of this, there was, like, no one in the political community gave two flying fucks about, about comic books. Right, like, no one cared. It was not something.
No, how politically influenced comic books are.
No. I know that they're, like, politically influential historically. Like, I understand that. Like, I get that. I'm just talking about, like, as of late, like, in 2020 political sphere discussion. Like, it just was not like you. Before this, like, no one was talking about, like, the most recent political ramifications of comic books. Like, that was just a discussion that was not happening. And Marvel had to make it one. And not only make it one, but, like, they effectively, like, created the straw man that conservatives dream of being able to criticize, right? Like, they literally, like, created the living embodiment of the, like, the straw man argument that they try to argue against. What are we doing? I don't know either.
But for those who are watching who don't know how, like, politically backed the history of comic books are,
yeah, go for it.
The original modern comic book was, oh fuck, because I haven't actually, like, looked into much of the history. I had to read a book. Also, fuck, my throat's killing me. I had to read like a fictionized version of this. It's a book called, like, The Unbelievable Stories of Kate and Caduceus and Clay, something like that. Caduceus and Clay, something like that. Anyway, it's like a fictionized version of the retelling of how like what we would know as comic books came to be, which was that it was very much like a Jewish thing that got brought over from Europe, and they wanted to criticize Hitler, and this was like 1939, 1940, so like before the U.S. were in the war, and they were kind of taking a isolationist route, and they just didn't really want to piss off anyone. So original comics were very much about like fighting Hitler, just literally fighting Hitler.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Damn.
And they got like shut down because they were like too provocative or stuff, and then the war happened, and then it became a propaganda machine, and then the war ended, and then comic books got considered, they were considered to be communist propaganda.
Really?
So yeah.
Damn.
So basically, comic books just got shit for the longest time. Did you ever, Riley, did you ever see Into the Spider-Verse?
I actually did not. I've been meaning to. That's one of those movies I've been meaning to watch lately, but I just haven't gotten around to.
First off, fucking watch that movie.
I will.
It is so good.
I will. I'll get there.
But for people who have watched Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, literally like one of the first things you see in that movie is it's a box and it says this product has been approved by the Comic Code Authority or something in that ballpark.
Mm-hmm.
Which was started in the Cold War, basically to like quote unquote keep comic books from like spewing wrong morals. So like the there was like no blood, no alcohol. The good guys always had to win. There was very clear cut between good and evil. So that's where that comes from.
Interesting.
And ironically enough, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse like actually fits into that. So
really?
It could be, yeah, but I don't think it's around anymore because like, who gives a shit? But yeah, comic books have a very like politically loaded history. So the fact that Marvel would do this isn't surprising that they're stepping into politics because comic books are historically very political.
I mean, I guess, but it's like the worst take. Like
I didn't say it was a good take. I said
yeah.
I'm not surprised that they did this.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I guess it makes sense. Like, sure, it's not out of nowhere for them to be able to enter into politics, but like, it's out. Like, I would say it's out of place for them to enter into politics on this issue. Like, I feel like this is they say in the advertisement for the character that this is the first ever non-binary character in the Marvel book or in a Marvel comic, right? So like they've never had to deal with this, like they've never entered into this arena before, right? And it's sad because like it will actually go down in history that the first ever non-binary character in Marvel was named Snowflake. Like that's something that's canon in Marvel right now. And that's fucking terrible. You know?
That's awful.
Yeah, and that's something that can never be changed. Even though like no one wants it there. Nobody wants this.
Fun fact, did you know that the reason why Wonder Woman has the lasso of truth is because the creator of that was heavily into BDSM?
Wow.
That is true.
I did not know that. I'm not sure how that, I mean, like, hey, I don't judge. So it just is very contradictory for me. I do not think of the lasso of truth from Wonder Woman having any sexual implications, but I mean,
keep in mind this was also, you know, a comic book about a strong woman, like a strong woman.
Okay, I've heard enough. I've heard enough. I've heard enough. Yeah, I've heard enough. You have convinced me beyond a reasonable doubt that that the creator probably unfortunately had like a strong woman kink. Not sure.
I mean, he also had an open marriage, I believe.
Damn, he was ahead of his time.
He was,
at least in that regard.
Like oddly, surprisingly ahead of his time.